Happy Peeps, Suzanna here today to share with you this layout. This is my interpretation of week 15 of sketch number 15 of Allison Davis's sketches for 6x6 paper pad. So it is a 2-page sketch. I have opted to just do the left-hand side of the sketch and modify that. I'm sorry I can't share the sketch with you because it is a class that we have paid for. I will tell you, however, that Allison has opened up a second class. So if you go over to Scrapbook Generations, you can sign up for the class, and there is a online Facebook page that is doing the same sketches as what I have been working on. She's just repeating it over for those who want to jump in. Actually, we'll start from the beginning. So absolutely, I will link you in the box down below if that is something that you are interested in. So I have, because I've decided to make it one page, I have decided to frame out my border. I really wanted to draw attention to the black in this layout because I felt like by doing that I was able to pop the colors in the collection, and so I really wanted a black frame. But I didn't want it to just be a plain old boring black frame. I wanted that little pop of yellow to pop the pineapple and the yellow that's in the collection, and the yellow is the less dominant color in the collection, so I'm using that 12 by 12 piece from my stash. So I am working with the Kaisercraft Fleur collection. Coincidentally, these pictures are of the pineapple fountain in Charleston, and that is probably the only reason that I am using this sketch. I don't actually like the triangles that cascade down the page, but I thought that they looked like the top of the pineapple in the sculpture. So if you look at the pictures, you'll see what I mean. My original intent was going to be to do maybe 4 of the triangles and then do that pineapple shape at the bottom in yellow or gold, but I didn't like the way that that looked, but I really liked the way that these photos go with these triangles. It would not otherwise be something that would settle very well for me. So what I'm showing you here is that I completely forgot that this is, so Kaisercraft is an Australian company, and the paper pad is 6.5 inches square, and I wanted 6-inch squares, and so to cut the triangles, what I did was I literally put opposing corners and lined them up on my trimmer, and then just trimmed the square in half to give me the triangles. But I had 6.5 inch wide squares, and so I had to lop off a 1/2 inch in order to be able to have these 6-inch triangles. I could have worked with 6.5 inch triangles. There would have been no issue with that. But in my head, I wanted 6-inch squares, triangles, whatever, things, shapes. And so now the sketch calls for hand stitching, and I will typically overlook that, but I decided I really wanted to pop the yellow, and I liked the way that the hand stitching would be able to bring your eye the contrasting colors to these pages or papers. And so I am going to fast forward through this, but what I'm doing is I'm using my Tim Holtz ruler that has holes in it, and I'm punching every 2, 1, 2, 1 so that my stitches are not neighboring stitches, but there's a little gap in between each stitch. As I have always done, I am going to, from my DMC thread, pull 4 threads. So I'm going to have 4 and 2. I'm going to sew with a single thread with the 4. If I needed the additional thread, I could double the 2 and tie a knot, so that I'm always sewing with 4 threads. I feel that if you've got 6, it's too thick for pattern paper or most of the medium weight pattern papers, and so that's what I'm going to do. I've tied a knot at the end, and then I'm just literally going to go up and down. There's no back stitching in the stitch that I have chosen to stitch. One of the things that you do want to be careful of when you're stitching, especially a triangle like this, if it's not a straight line, is when you go around corners, you want to be mindful of trying to miter the corners per se, and so if you look at that top black one, you can see where I've stitched and the stitch is continuous around the triangle. So once I've stitched them all and I fast forwarded through that, or not all of them, I just did the ones that I wanted to do randomly just for weight and balance. I am now using that same Tim Holtz ruler to line up the so that the center of the triangles is all in a line, and then each edge of the triangle is an inch out from the next inch. So you can see I'm using it kind of like a T-square. I'm measuring an inch on that top border from the way you're looking at it, and then an inch out to that bottom border using both edges of the ruler there. So I'm just putting the adhesive on the top. That allows me to line everything up and move things. And then I will go back, you'll see in a second, and I will add the additional adhesive to make sure that everything is secured. I am going to take this down a little bit further, just as Allison does in the sketch, and that bottom triangle will need to be lopped off, but I liked the way that it provided continuity all the way down the page. I could have done the same thing with that yellow and fixed it, but I really liked that little bit of white space so that it is, you still have the illusion of the triangle. If you had put that one more in, it would have taken away that bottom visual that you have of the triangles. So because I've got the black border, I need to figure out where I want those to actually begin and end. I like that yellow showing through at the top because it really pops. The contrast between the yellow and that dark green, that marbled green, is nice. But you didn't need to see the yellow as much at the bottom, and so that's why I chose to cut off where I did there. So 4 of those triangles are hand stitched, that top one in the black. What you can't see is the black and white that has the pink stitching. There are hints of it, but it's very subtle. And then there's the yellow with the green, and then that floral, it's predominantly a black and green floral with a yellow thread. So I have 3 pictures that I'm using. I have one of just the pineapple in color, pineapple fountain, one of us with the pineapple fountain, a selfie, and then one that I took and converted to black and white. I'd also slowed down the shutter speed so that the water is flowing per se. So I've got my die cut here, and I have some Dynamics dies. They are faux hand stitching, sort of that X, and I liked the way that that worked with the hand stitching that I've actually done. So I'm going to cut black cardstock, white cardstock, and then a piece of really old Teresa Collins that has some gold in it to work with the collection. I used the different colors because I felt that the different colors popped each of the pictures. Each of the pictures is slightly different. In order to get the exposure of us correct, it blew out the sky in the people picture, and then so I've got 3 different tones of pictures, but I wanted to use them all and tie them in together. I really like that black and white photo, and the expression in that is different. So in the original sketch there are actually 4 photos for that within the triangles. Because it was 2 pages originally, there are actually 4 photos down the side, but I'm negating those because it looks funny if you don't have that right-hand page to tie it together. But then over the triangles, Allison originally has 4. There are 2 2.5 by 3.5, and then 2 2.5 squares, but I just have these 3, and so I'm going to use my journaling on the right hand side of the page to even things out. I have this pineapple stamp that's from Concord and Ninth that I have had for years, very, very long time, and I wanted to incorporate that into the layout as well, and that was going to be able to give me not only the pineapple look and enhance those triangles, but also to pull more of that yellow into the page. So I've used 2 shades of yellow. I'm also going to use 2 shades of green. I have scattered straw and mustard seed, I believe, and then I'm using Lucky Clover, and I can't remember what that 4th green color is, but it's a slightly different shade, just again because I've got different shades of green in those pattern papers, and because I've got the 2 different textures of the layered stamps from Concord and Ninth, that allowed me to just add a little bit of variety to the page. And I like the way that the yellow and the green contrast with that black and white photo, and really do pop the rest of the colors in the page. So I'm going to skip through this. I'm literally just going to fussy cut them. I believe Concord and Ninth may have had a die that came with this, but I bought it at Paper Source a long time ago, and I don't think they had the dies at that point. I know I would have bought them if they were available, because if you know me, you know I'm a die cutter. So I like the 3 photos. I'm trying to figure out how I want them to back each of the photos in order to really pop the color. And so what I had done originally was I had cut out that white frame, and that black one was a slightly larger size, and I thought that slightly larger size would work nicely in order to create balance across the page, but there's actually an asymmetry to it. I thought it might actually provide balance too between those 2 photos that are stacked, but it's too dark, so I'm going to end up getting my die cut machine. I'm actually going to walk to my die cut machine off camera and cut another one of those. You saw the circle that I had there. I had really wanted to incorporate that into the layout somehow, thinking that circle might soften the triangles, but I don't actually really want to do that with that large of a white circle, which is why I go with that pink. I think it says Hello Lovely. I also like the way that Hello Lovely masks where I've blown out the sky in that photo. I could have fixed it in Photoshop, but that would have taken way more time than I really cared to do. And really that particular photo is about the people in it, not so much that I blew out the sky. So sometimes you can see how your design elements and the way you incorporate those elements can help you I'm going to say mask your photography errors. When you're taking a selfie, it's really hard to know what it is that you're doing. So I like that circle there. I like that I have been able to cover up that photography error. Now I need to figure out what I struggled with that 3rd photo down the bottom there is it's sitting on the same angle as the top one, and I wanted to have 3 slightly different angles to have that movement with the page. I also really struggled with, I'd spent so much time hand stitching that I didn't really want to cover up all of the triangles and wanted to leave as much exposed out the edges as I could. And I felt like I had that really dark marble triangle up the top that needed to be covered a little bit more. So I could have shifted the photos up, but I knew I wanted to put some embellishments there. So in the original sketch, there are flowers in the center of the 4 photos. So it would have been in the center of my 3 photos, except that would have covered me up. So that was not going to work. And it also housed the title. So for the shape embellishments that I had to have something small and that you could see through. So I am going to actually end up housing the title there, but not put anything around it. And all of my other embellishments are going to go around the page. I want some more dimension to this page, and when you have 2 neighboring elements that are the same, I like to pop them up, so I'm going to pop them up on foam. That amazing, that will end up being the first word in the title, it'll be amazing view, ends up also being popped up on foam, so I have a couple of elements that create some movement and some dimension to the page. I know in this 6.5 paper pad that there are, I thought they were stickers, so you'll see me fussing with it. Actually, it was with the Hello Lovely. I thought that they were stickers, but they're actually just die cuts. So I am going to try and incorporate some of those die cut elements into the page if I can. I am going to use this banner that came with the stamp set, so I stamped it and then fussy cut it from Concord and 9th to cover up Lovely, because while yes they are lovely and yes the pineapple is lovely, I really wanted to allude to Charleston. My title is Amazing View, and that is not actually what I had wanted to do, something about Pineapple Fountain to allude to where it was that we were, and so by putting Charleston in that banner, I can allude more to the fact that we were in Charleston and that this pineapple fountain was from Charleston. But because I had that word amazing and it fit nicely there, that is why the title ends up becoming what it is. I think just like sometimes people and animals name themselves, so too do the pages title themselves in a way. So those flowers, the rest of the bits and pieces that go on this page are from my embellishment scrap stash. So when I've created pages and I'm too lazy to put things away, I just kind of put everything in a bucket, and then I pull things out that match. And so I've color coordinated those, and that's how I come by these embellishments. Die cuts that are left over, like those flowers, those leaves, and then that pink leaf is, I know that is from Tuesday morning, from something that I American Crafts. And then I'm going to end up off camera putting in a heart that I have a die that's a gold foiled heart. And then that is all I add off camera, but I really like the way that that foliage kind of goes with the top of the pineapple, and I want a little bit of sparkle because I've got gold other places in the layout, and so I'm just going to put a little thread ball behind that, and that again adds that dimension that I like. I usually use my tweezers just as I did there to kind of push threads in to make them more of an organized mess. I always forget that these are stickers. You see, I tried to peel it off and couldn't find the peel off, and so I put the adhesive, and lo and behold, there's the sticker. It's just as well that I put adhesive though, because they aren't the greatest stickers. Those are really, really old. I want to say crepe paper. Pink paisley, those are really old pink paisley stickers, also from Tuesday morning. And that is going to wrap up my interpretation after I put the title of Allison's sketch. So I will link you to her second class. It's the same sketches, she's just running it again for people that are interested. It has really made me step out of my comfort zone and try new things, and I highly recommend it if you like using sketches. So thanks for stopping in today. I hope you're doing well. I hope to see you soon. Take care.